All right, the holidays are over, but the debt is not. We're going to show you tips to pay down your holiday debt fast. The new year is a great time to take stock and reset your financial goals. A financial coach joins us to talk about setting realistic goals and making them a reality. President-elect Trump will be sworn into office soon, and we're going to break down what his proposed tax cuts could mean for your wallet. And the murder of a healthcare CEO is putting a new spotlight on insurance claim denials. We talk with an expert on how to turn denials into paid claims. And welcome to Dollars and Cents. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm your host, Heather Sullivan. Well, now that the holidays are finally over, many people are now realizing they've got some credit card debt to deal with. In fact, a new study found 1/3 of shoppers put more than $1,000 on their credit cards this holiday season. So I'm going to start by showing you some ways that can help you pay it down faster. Now, a LendingTree study found 36% of Americans took on holiday debt this season with an average of $1,181. That's actually up about $50 over last year. Now, 60% of those who took out debt say they are feeling stressed about it. I don't want you to stress, but let's take a look at how it was broken down. Of those who did have debt, 65% was purchases that were put on credit cards and 24% were put on store credit cards. Now, experts have some tips to help you pay down debt faster, like consolidating at a lower interest rate or cutting some other expenses so you can put more money toward debt.
And maybe you're even wasting money without realizing it on forgotten subscriptions. Maybe you're paying for premium movie channels on your cable plan you really don't need. Even doing things like calling your service provider to negotiate your rate, or maybe they have a promotion to help you save an extra $10 or $20 on your bill. Even bundling services.
0% balance transfer card. You move that high cost debt over to a card that won't charge interest for up to 21 months. If you don't have great credit or you have a lot of debt, maybe you don't qualify for one of these, a solid backup plan is nonprofit credit counseling.
Okay, so let's break it down. Here are some steps from Experian to help you pay off holiday debt. First, take inventory of your debts. Write down how much you owe on each credit card, the interest rate, and the monthly payment due. Now, don't forget to note any buy now, pay later payments that you have coming due. Review your budget, and can you find some money in there to cut from other expenses and put towards paying off the debt? And then you want to use a debt payoff strategy. You've got the snowball method, where you pay off the smallest debt first and also pay the minimum on the others. Makes you feel good, gives you momentum. The other method is the avalanche method, where you put any extra money you can toward the highest interest debt. This one will actually save you money and time, but they're both very effective. Just depends on your personality. And you can ask your credit card company for a lower interest rate. This is actually successful 75% of the time. It is worth the phone call. And you want to consider transferring debt to a 0% balance transfer card, which can give you 12 to 18 months of 0% interest. Or you can consolidate debt into a personal loan at a lower rate. And you can always get help from a credit counselor. In fact, you can get free to low-cost help from nonprofit credit counselors, and they'll help you with budgeting, reaching goals, and they help people pay off tens of thousands of dollars in debt in just a few years, and they can negotiate a lower interest rate with your creditors for you. Okay, it's the new year, and we know it's the time of year everybody is setting financial resolutions, all kinds of resolutions, but we want to help you actually reach those resolutions. So we have Monet Cheney, a financial coach at Family Houston, with us. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me back.
Of course, we love having you. Let's talk about setting financial resolutions and goals for a new year, but doing it realistically, because I think that's where people get hung up.
Yes, so just to get started, you want to reflect on where are you currently at financially. So look at your budget, look at your current income and spending, as well as your savings balances and debt balances, to kind of help you determine some places or areas of improvement with your finances, as well as opportunities for growth.
Okay. I think, sometimes maybe people set kind of too lofty of goals. Do you see that when you're coaching people, do they maybe kind of overshoot? How can they kind of start to take a look at things and maybe implement things that are doable?
I think a great strategy to use when setting your financial goals for the new year is to consider the acronym SMART. Using the acronym SMART is creating SMART goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based.
Okay, so what would be your advice to kind of help someone get started? Obviously, debt is a huge issue for so many households. What would be some practical advice to help people set some realistic goals there?
So I think with debt, especially coming off of the holiday season where there's a lot of spending, is to start with looking at your budget. How much room do you have in your budget where you can cut back on some unnecessary spending and apply that income towards some of your credit card balances, as well as if you want to increase savings for the new year, you can, using that budget again, is to see where do you have room in order to reach those goals of reducing debts as well as increasing your savings.
Okay, Renee Cheney with Family Houston, thanks so much. Great advice that I hope will help a lot of people get started on their financial goals this year. Appreciate it. Okay, so we are now about a week into the new year. How are those resolutions going? If you're finding it hard to stay motivated to stick to your goals, you're certainly not alone. Fox's Jackie Ibanez takes a closer look at how you can make some small changes.
The new year is a great time for a fresh start, but research finds most people abandon their resolutions by the second Friday in January. To help keep your goals from needing an emergency revival, psychologists recommend keeping them small.
Making them something that would fit into your day-to-day life so that you have a good chance for success.
If you're not sure where to start, consider embarking on new intentions and activities you're familiar with.
You want to pick something that's close to what you can do. So if you never have run a mile in your life, you're not going to commit to run a marathon this year. But you may commit to start walking 3 times a week for 15 minutes.
According to new data from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, more than half of U.S. adults say they will make at least one resolution for 2025. The NORC data also found roughly 3 in 10 adults will make resolutions involving exercise or eating healthier. To help stay comfy when starting outdoor winter workouts, fitness experts advise dressing for the weather.
Wearing layers to kind of keep your body warm, also making sure to wear moisture wicking clothing, especially on that first layer. We don't want that, the moisture of our sweat to kind of stick to us, because that can accelerate kind of heat loss and make us more susceptible to things like hypothermia.
Meanwhile, when it comes to excitement levels surrounding the new year, researchers say about 4 in 10 adults believe 2025 will be a better year for them. I'm Chanley Painter, Fox News.
And we certainly hope it is. Now, President-elect Trump will be inaugurated January 20th, and some of his proposed tax cuts could follow shortly thereafter. So Craig Patrick with our Fox station in Tampa breaks down what these proposals could mean to you.
Well, President-elect Trump called for ending the tax on tips and overtime. He also called for cutting the tax retirees pay on their Social Security benefits, though that would require 60 votes to pass in the Senate. And that'll be difficult to pass because it would further deplete the Social Security Trust Fund as more people approach retirement with little to no personal savings.
Over the years, the number of retirees who are relying on Social Security to be their main source of income has soared.
The incoming administration also favors new tax deductions for infants and expanding the child tax credit. Vice President-elect Vance suggested raising it to $5,000.
Your taxes are going to fall. You saw that. Your net worth will skyrocket. America will be confident again.
An analysis by the nonpartisan Committee for Responsible Federal Budget shows Trump's proposals would increase our national debt by $7.5 trillion in the next 10 years. But Trump dismisses economist projections, noting that they've been wrong before. On the campaign trail, he even floated the idea of eliminating federal income tax in favor of steeper tariffs.
In the old days, when we were smart, when we were a smart country, in the 1890s and all. This is when the country was relatively the richest it ever was. It had all tariffs. It didn't have an income tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now we have income taxes, and we have people that are dying. They're paying tax, and they don't have the money to pay the tax.
Trump's plans could substantially increase the cost of goods while enlarging paychecks of many who pay income taxes. But eliminating federal income tax is a long shot, even with one-party control of Congress. It's far more likely to make all the tax cuts Trump signed in 2017 permanent and approve some combination of Trump's other proposed cuts and reduce some corporate tax rates.
We're going to lower taxes still further for companies that are going to make their product in the USA.
Based on what happened in Trump's first term, plans may come into focus by spring and pass by the end of 2025.
Craig Patrick, Fox 35 News.
All right, and you know, the European shopping method is trending online. What do you think about this? Influencers say it's practical and it's a money-saving solution. Instead of stocking up on groceries for the week, this method has folks buying small amounts more often. Think daily trips for fresh produce, high-quality meats, and seasonal items. Fans say it cuts down on waste and it saves cash, and that's because you only buy exactly what you need. Plus, you limit your haul on what you can carry, and it is great for people who have small kitchens or for solo cooks. I think I might spend more, though. Depends on your personality. All right, one of the top resolutions every year, of course, is improving your fitness. But the cost of gyms seems to go up every year, right? So Fox 26's Ruben Dominguez shows us how you can get into shape for just a few dollars, and there's even a $10 gym deal.
Absolutely, man. You know, these are tough economic times, but you need to be in shape. So we're going to save you some money, tell you how to do it. Tony Jones, Mo City Fitness. Happy New Year, brothers. Good to see you as always.
Thank you for
All right,
having me.
let's jump right in because you've always got some great ideas for us.
So what we have here, we have ankle straps, and the resistance band comes within 1, 3, and 5 pounds. So what she's doing right here, she's demonstrating a leg curl that she can turn sideways and go out to it. Abduction, out to the side.
I love it, man. And make sure the Velcro's all right, so $15, that gets us going. What's happening?
Here we have an ab pad. So this is really good for those who have bad back issues or lower back issues. This is assisting with their abs.
I love that.
So it's an ab crunch pad.
And like most of these things, you can do multiple exercises.
Multiple exercises correctly.
I love that. Okay, what do we got going on?
Here we have a stretch strap. So what she's doing, she's performing a hamstring stretch.
Yeah.
Which is very good and it's important for you while we exercising.
And this is where you want to start out. You know, before you start getting into
well, you want to do a warm up first and then you go into
warm
this.
up and then get into it. Guys, there you go, $10. All right, now I like this.
Now this is old school. We went back to the cylinder block.
Yes, sir.
So you actually get 2 of these for under $5. And what Stacey's doing right now, she's performing a squat.
And again, you can do multiple exercises with that.
Multiple.
You can get that at any one of your
Home Depot or Lowe's.
Okay, here we go.
Here we have a Pilates bar with extended bands, and she's doing a front raise. It is also good for multiple exercises as well. Then she can go right into like a shoulder press.
Love it. Now, all of these things you can either get locally or online, get it shipped to your house, right?
You can pick them up the same day, or you can have them delivered.
I love that. Y'all don't stop. Keep going, please. You know, we'll make sure we get a full workout in on here. All right. So let's say some folks need a little bit more motivation, and they need to be in the gym. What are you guys going on at Mo City
Well,
Fitness?
if they need motivation, they definitely need to come down and hang out with us. We have a membership right now for just $10. That's less than 30 cents a day.
Is it a contract?
No contract at all.
$10. Come on, man. I love that. Mo City Fitness out here in Stafford. All right, guys, the important thing is you can get all of this stuff readily available.
All right, Walmart is taking the internet by storm with its Birkin bag dupe. You may have seen or heard about the expensive Hermes Birkin bag. They can range from $9,000 to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So here to talk about the cultural impact of this is Susan Skafidieff with the Fashion Law Institute at Fordham Law School. Thanks so much for being with us, Susan.
Thanks for the invitation. Good to be here.
Why has this Walmart Birkin dupe caused so much conversation and debate?
You know, there are so many dupes that look just like it that have been around for decades. I think the difference in this case is Walmart, literally the world's largest retailer, which lends this dupe an aura of authenticity and makes it a lot more accessible to a lot of people if you got there fast.
Yeah. So what do you think it means that so many people are embracing getting a dupe like this?
Well, on the one hand, it's positive for Hermes in the sense that the Birkin is highly recognizable. On the downside for Hermes, it means that people want the Birkin at a much lower price. And so we have something that is obviously iconic. In fact, so iconic that the shape of the Birkin is registered as a federal trademark. And lots of people want that.
Yeah, and we were discussing earlier in our show about whether there might be a legal challenge even because of the similarities here. Do dupes devalue the original, more expensive product when we see something like this happen?
Well, there's no question that there is a legal problem here. That is to say, the sellers are violating the Hermes trademark. But yes, it's also damaging to Hermes, not because lots of people are going to trade down. If you can afford a $9,000 handbag, then you're probably not going to substitute a much less expensive handbag the way people used to substitute travel jewelry for the real thing. But there's a dilution problem. That is to say, if everyone's walking around with a dupe, why would you spend the money on the real thing? And so that's really the danger for Hermes, that if these dupes are not challenged and challenged legally and challenged quickly, it will devalue the actual Birkin.
Yeah, I think that really makes this case a serious one, or potential case if there's going to be one. Are there any, though, noticeable differences where Walmart might argue, oh, ours is a little different?
Well, dupes usually are made to fool the eye, not the fingertips and not the nose. So it's not going to smell like real leather. It's not going to feel like real leather. The stitching isn't going to be as perfect. The little feet on the bottom will be not as fine a metal, that sort of thing. But there are not major visual significant differences between the two in this particular case. That is to say, as visually as copies go, it's a pretty exact copy. So Walmart probably couldn't weasel out on those grounds.
Yeah, and really quickly, let me just ask you, because it's kind of a brazen move by Walmart to do this. Do you think this is maybe a sign of things to come, that we'll see more of this happening in the mainstream marketplace?
Well, we're also already seeing from other platforms like Shein and Temu lots of allegations of copying. What we're seeing here, though, in the case of Walmart, is third parties on the platform, right? And so you've got the issue of Walmart needing to police a little better who is selling via Walmart, the way that Amazon has to do the same thing, right? So that's the issue for Walmart, to make sure that its rules are very clear.
Yeah. Susan Scafidia with Fordham Law, thank you so much for shedding some light on this. We really appreciate it.
My great pleasure. Thank you.
You bet. All right. Well, the recent murder of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, and the belief that it may be over insurance claim denials is really shining a new light on this issue. Reports show that health claim denials can range anywhere from 17 to 30% or more, depending on the insurance company, but fewer than 1% of patients appeal them. So we consulted a patient advocate for ways to turn a denial into a paid claim. There's no way to know what percentage of health insurance claims are denied. Insurance companies are not required to report it. Patient advocate Adria Gross of MedWise Insurance Advocacy says it can devastate a patient's health and finances.
It seems to me, look, we pay the money, and if there's any way that they don't have to pay that money out, they're going to do it.
Gross says start by checking your policy. If your care should have been covered but is denied, you have the right to appeal, often 2 to 3 times, depending on the insurer. Find the reason for the denial listed on your denial letter or call the insurer. If it's listed as not medically necessary, ask your care provider to write a letter outlining why you needed the treatment. You may need to provide documentation or records supporting your claim. In some cases, you can submit peer-reviewed articles or treatment guidelines from recognized medical organizations.
You've got to get the medical records. You have to find out the reason why you were even placed in the hospital to begin with. And I really recommend that you have your doctor or whoever took care of you at the hospital, or even your primary, why it was that you went to the hospital and you needed the care.
Be sure to file appeals before deadlines, usually listed on denial letters or your explanation of benefits. Then send your appeal package via certified mail so you get a receipt that it was received. And no matter what,
don't ever give up. fight for your rights. You know, you pay for your insurance and you have a right to be covered on your policy.
And you may want to get help from a health advocate, or it's also called a patient advocate. Two nonprofits that can help you are the National Patient Advocate Foundation and the National Association of Healthcare Advocacy. Now, if your appeals are denied, you can also turn to the State Department of Insurance and the State Attorney General's office. You want to keep copies of all documentation and correspondence throughout the whole process. And of course, you can also hire an attorney. And finally, let's take a look at a growing debate that's trending right now over whether women should always wear makeup to work. Should cosmetics be used at the workplace at all? Or if you do wear it, how much is appropriate? Fox News' Meredith Gorman takes a look.
The question of whether or not women choosing not to wear makeup in the workplace is unprofessional has been gaining steam on social media, particularly on TikTok. Whether it be for a job interview or day-to-day at work, women are questioning if going to work makeupless is impacting them professionally, or if it shouldn't matter and their accomplishments should be the only thing up for debate in the office.
I think it matters what you're achieving at the end of the day. If you're going to presentation, you want to present yourself in a certain way, but otherwise, I think it just comes down to what you're actually accomplishing.
Yeah, and less about how you're
looking, because I don't think guys wear makeup when they go to work. So if you can do the job, then that's what matters.
I'm in the healthcare industry, so I don't wear makeup to work. So I feel like it should be your own personal opinion.
Others think showing up, being well put together is important.
I think it does have a bearing. You should be put together. And if that includes wearing makeup, great.
For job recruiters, this has been a hot topic. One expert recruiter telling me that since the pandemic, people have gotten more relaxed and laid back with their appearance, and that they, of course, give pointers to help people perform their best professionally in interviews, but never tell someone anything about their physical appearance. Other experts agree. It should be about performance more than appearance, and the work is what matters the most.
Wearing makeup or not wearing makeup is sort of irrelevant as far as going in and being able to do a great job. I think that going into the office and looking professional and giving your best in terms of doing the work is really what matters. And I can't imagine being judged based on how much or how little or no makeup at all is worn.
Well, let us know where you stand on this debate. We'd love to hear from you. I want to give you a little bit more information of just some things that I'm kind of learning about. One, there's a scam where the scammers are posing as your bank or financial institutions, but they're kind of approaching people, we're hearing, with a lot more specific information. They may already have your social security number or your account number. And so when they call you or contact you saying, hey, there's a problem with your account, usually you go, oh, that's a scam, I'm not going to respond to this, but they're going to have more specific information, and so they're getting people to fall for that. So I want you to be aware of that. We're also seeing the jury scam kind of make a resurgence right now, according to the Better Business Bureau. This is when people contact you saying, hey, you missed jury duty, you have to pay a fine and you need to pay it right now, and they pressure people into going and getting money and paying them. But that's not how jury duty works. So don't give out any information and don't give out any money to that scam. So those are a couple that are going on right now I want to let you know about. Coming up, we're going to be showing you ways to cut down your home energy bill for heating, for all of the other appliances that you're using, other ways to keep your home safe and insulated if we continue to have these really cold temperatures. And also, we're going to be talking with a patient about a new coalition that is working to fight for the rights of patients when it comes to being covered by insurance. That's continues to be a really important issue. So we're going to be shining more attention on that issue and what some consumers are doing to fight for their rights right now. So all of that's coming up. You'll see it on the next Dollars and Cents. I always want to hear from you. Please drop me a line. You can reach me on Instagram, Facebook, X, or TikTok. It's all Heather Sullivan, Fox 26. And we'll see you next time right here on Dollars and Cents.